What's up, Manifestors? We've got Kylie in the studio today. I am super excited because Kylie is going to tell us all about human design, which I know jack shit about. Like, that is just the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I cannot lie. I love manifestation. I love everything about manifestation, but I have zero clue about human design. All I know is that Kylie told me, because I gave her my birth details, that I am a reflector, which is one of the rarest, which I thought was quite interesting, given my history of always saying, if it's rare, it happens to me. If it's rare, it happens to me. So I thought that was really interesting. But let's get into it. Firstly, what is human design?
Human design is a fascinating modality because it combines 5 other modalities, and some of which you've even spoken about on this podcast before. So I'm really excited to get into it because there's quantum physics, which we can get into the science behind how we get our birth charts. There is the Hindu chakra system. So, you know, when you go to yoga, you work on like the root center, or I call them centers in Hindu chakra system. It would be chakras. So you've got your root chakra, your sacral, etc. Human design has studied that our chakras evolved into becoming a 9-centered being. So we've got 9 centers in the human design system versus 7 in the chakra system. And then we've got the Kabbalah, which is really interesting. And that's a whole episode for another day, the Kabbalah, because it just goes so deep. It's so mystical. It's got so much wisdom. Then we've got the Chinese I Ching, which is one of my biggest fascinations in the system, which is basically we have 64 energies that run through our body, and that links up to the 64 codons of DNA. So when we talk about generational trauma and manifesting for others and healing lineages and doing things across time spans, the human design system will show you how each of those 64 energies starts to create different effects in your body, and then that would go through into your aura and create literal physical physical differences in your appearance. And then we've got astrology, and it's not as like astrology. I think for a lot of people is like, oh, I'm a Pisces, but astrology is a lot deeper than that. And so we've got our planetary placements, we've got transits that we can look at in human design, which is where is the sun at the moment, what gate is it going through, and things like that. So it's not just about the birth details you were born with, it's also about what is happening when you are in contact with other people, what is happening when there are planets doing things. And what's really interesting is that for me, I always thrive during a Mercury retrograde, and right now we've got 4 planets in retrograde and they're going all crazy. And I know,
and when people talk about retrograde, because someone was talking about it there other on Instagram, and I was just like, what is a retrograde? Like see, because I genuinely believe, like, when there's different things going on, I recognize, oh my God, I'm crazy today. And then I'll see that there's something going on with the planets. Yeah. So I'm like, I do think there has to be some sort of energy connection. But when people talk about like the portal gate or the lion's gate or the retrograde, I'm just lost, because that's not something that I've jumped into before. So what is retrograde? What is the gates? What does it mean?
Cool. So retrograde is basically when it appears that a planet is traveling backwards. It's still always moving forward, but it looks like it's traveling backwards. And that's why whatever that planet rules, so when it's a Mercury retrograde, always make sure that your tech's working. Like double check it, because Mercury is in charge of
your what's working?
Tech. Like technology.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
This podcast, for example, that we're recording during a Mercury retrograde, we'll double check that we've got the footage. We'll double check that the things
Make
are
sure
working.
it's on, Shane. Press record.
Because often, and it's so funny, every time something goes astray with my tech, it's always during a retrograde. And it's just because that's the planet that rules those things and communication and things like that. So yeah, like we've got Neptune in retrograde. We've got a whole bunch of planets. I'm not hugely affair with astrology, because it's a completely different facet, but it does definitely guide a lot of the human design information.
Does Earth ever go into retrograde, or is that a stupid question?
No, but it's because Earth won't go into retrograde. For other planets, it might go into retrograde, but for us, because we're on Earth, it's not looking like we're moving backwards where we are. Great question.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. There's definitely, and what do the gates mean then? Like, so like you'll have like, when people are like, you better manifest now, abundance, because it's like 8, something or something like that. And I'm like, you're manifesting every day. We're just trying to use a day. It's a marketing tactic, I think, maybe. But
kind of caveat that, because that's a really great point. Can we manifest on any day regardless of what the planets are doing? And I always say that our power is far more infinite than the planets, but there will be days that the planets will just open up an extra special portal to help amplify the energy. But the planets aren't going to determine whether you get your manifestation or not. And I think a lot of people get confused about that.
Yeah. Are you saying that the energy, like the vibrational frequency that comes for the planet is so large that like it's doing something with whatever you're doing, it like impacts you kind of?
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit, because that will help you make sense of everything. Essentially, we've got parts of our charts that we would call define. That's what you have consistent access to. So you being a reflector, you don't have consistent access to any of your senses, and that's what makes you a reflector. That's what makes you super rare. It makes you 1% of the population. Every single other human design type, and there are 5, have access to different parts of themselves on a continuous basis. So for me, being a generator, it means that I have consistent access to life force energy. And so that's why I gain a lot of energy from the work that I do, because the more I work, the more energy I get when I'm in love with the process. Whereas for you, you will have moments where you're like, I love what I'm doing and I'm getting energy, and you'll have moments of willpower, but you won't have consistent access to those things. And even your intuition, you're not going to have one way that your intuition comes through to you, which is why you are so deeply intuitive, is because some days it's going to come through as a feeling. Some days it's going to come through as a visualization. Some days it's going to come through as a sign, because you're here to gain wisdom in how your intuition works for you. Whereas for somebody that has what we would call a defined spleen, they would have a consistent access to how their intuition shows up for them. And maybe that is they only ever see things. Maybe that is they only ever hear things, whatever it is, however their intuition shows up for them. And they'll have it the same way all the time. Whereas I also have an open spleen. So you and I are going to experience our intuition in different ways all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Because for me, I sometimes can hear things, I can see things. And the most predominant, though, would probably be a knowing, a feeling, just a knowing. So there's 5 different types. Can you run through the 5?
Yeah.
It's like briefly what they are, kind of.
So we always start the system talking about manifestors. And I think everyone listening to this will be like, oh, am I a manifestor? Manifestors make up 9% of the population. And what I'll say is, if people don't have their charts, I'm sure you'll put a link in the show notes. Go get your charts so that you've got this information before we carry on.
But can you get your chart if you don't know your exact birth time, or you don't know, like, is there any?
So you do need your exact birth time. And if you don't have your exact birth time, something that I do or other human design readers can do is do an intuitive reading, but then what I do is I pull charts throughout the entire day, throughout a 24-hour period, because I've worked with people that have been adopted or don't have any birth records, etc. And what I do is I then ask very specific questions, because I know the system so in depth, and whatever your answers are, I'll start aligning those answers to what I'm seeing and reading in the chart. So it's not just me doing like a pendulum reading, it's me actually going and analyzing your answers in accordance to what the different charts may be revealing about you.
Okay, so you still can get your charts, folks, if you don't have any idea what your birth time is. You just kind of need to know where your what are the things that they need to know before they get their chart?
You need your birth time.
Yeah.
You need the location of where you were born. So that's city and country. And I know in Ireland, a lot of the cities don't actually show up. So find the closest city to where you were born. And
because I was Tralee, which is County Kerry. So it's probably Cork.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe, or something. I don't know. You did it for me, but I can't remember. But okay.
Yeah, so find the closest place in Ireland that it would come up. And you're not the first person that's come back with that information. And that's it. You just need your birth time, your birth dates, your birth location. And that is going to give you soul codes, which is your human design charts.
And just before we go into the 5, why should we know what our human design is? Why is it important to the way we show up in the world?
So I'm pretty sure that every listener listening to this podcast is into manifestation.
Yeah.
If you're not, why would you be here?
Yeah.
And so you know that from the manifestation wisdom, you are here very intentionally co-creating your life with the universe.
Yeah.
Now,
whoop, whoop. Say that again. We are co-creating our lives with the universe. I absolutely love that line, Kylie. Okay.
So because we're doing that, imagine now you had a cheat sheet to show you the fastest way possible to doing that. That's human design. Everybody's looking for answers. Everybody's looking, well, we had a brief conversation on authenticity before we started recording. Well, how do you be authentic? I don't know. Because, well, what does it mean to be authentic? We've been so conditioned that we have to do things this way. We should be doing this way. We should dress this way. What is authenticity? Well, most people don't know. And I don't believe that we manifest from thought first. I believe that we manifest from who we are being, which then creates our thoughts, which then creates our emotions, something that the human design system also goes through. And so who you are being is your human design. And you can start to then understand where you've been conditioned. You can start to understand where you would have received trauma. You can start to understand where you'll be living in shadow. And so when you start the deconditioning process, you have your blueprints.
And you might, if you do it for your family members, you might understand a little bit more why they are the way they are.
I love doing it for families because all of a sudden, wives that have been nagging their husbands to do things in a certain way are like, oh, I understand now. I understand why they are like that. Yeah. And so for me, human design isn't about changing another person. It's about deeply understanding self first to understand another so that we create harmony in different dynamics.
Yeah. Okay. So there's 5 human designs.
5 human design energy types.
Energy types. Okay, so let's get into those.
So, manifestors, you're 9% of the population. Quite a rare unicorn, not as rare as reflectors, but this is where the system starts. And so, manifestors, what they're designed to do in the system is to have these amazing ideas and then inform people around them about what they're doing because they're lightning fast beings. When you come across a manifestor, they're lightning fast beings and they're going to repel people out of their way to go from point A to point B, get their manifestations done, and move everything out of the way.
I bet we know some people like that already in the world that just come to top of mind.
I'm trying to think of a celebrity right now and cannot think of another celebrity that's a manifestor. But it's generally quite a rulership energy. So they're very powerful people and they really are here to guide and lead. And so if you think of, let's just say that we're creating a play. So we've got the manifestor, that is the playwright. We'll have the projectors that would be directing everyone. The generators and the manifesting generators, we'll get into all the types, but the generators and the manifesting generators would be the actors, the lights, the cameras, the working parts. And then the reflectors would be the audience reflecting back what they thought of the play and the health of the play. Because the reflectors, you are here to do such a very specific role. And I love how your podcast is it's such an embodiment of who you are and what you're here to do as a reflector.
And it's funny, Kylie, because a lot of people have been saying to me lately, they're like, can you please add on some more solo episodes? Because they're listening to what. And so I've actually taken the podcast more down a solo route. And then I've been really, really careful about who the guests are. Mm. Like more so than I ever was before. Before it was like, I need to get a guest on. I need to get a guest. Now it's like, there's just so much thought. Like if you were a guest now on my podcast, I've really thought about it. And I've been like, people need to hear this. I'm going with intuition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's exactly what you're here to do. So you're living so well in alignment. I think you're such an expander for anybody that could be a reflector or wanting to understand a reflector living in their highest embodiment of their design. So Yvonne is your girl.
Yeah.
Cool. So manifestors are the playwrights. They come up with the idea and they don't necessarily have the sustained energy to be able to see their projects through. So they need all of the other types to be activated by their informing. So when they have that idea, they're going to be going, hey guys, let's just say it's a podcast. I've got this idea to start a podcast. And that's going to give the generators and the manifesting generators what we call our strategy to follow, which is to respond. And so when a manifestors going, hey guys, I'm going to start a podcast. They're not asking for permission. They're not asking if it's a good idea. They just know it's the right thing for them to do. And they go into informing and initiating that. And that's when generators are like, oh, I want to help. I actually know how to edit videos and I know how to edit sound. And that's how the generators and the manifesting generators would be in the world. So that goes into the next two types, which is generators and manifesting generators. And I kind of like to talk about them together in the traditional human design. So there's a couple of different iterations of human design if we get into the semantics of it. Traditionally, there are 4 types because manifesting generators and generators were grouped as one. I still like seeing them as 2 different types because they have such different parts to play in the system. And so a generator is somebody that really, and I'm a generator, so it's somebody that really likes to follow a process. They really like to master what they're doing. They really are here to gain so much energy by work that they love doing. And you're responding to life. So you talk a lot about signs in the universe, and a generator gets to respond to the signs of the universe and really use that as information. Because another thing that human design teaches us is that you never make decisions from the mind, which is not what society tells us to do. You make it from your body. You talk a lot about gut instincts. You talk a lot about your intuition. Well, where does that live? It lives in your body. And so a generator needs to be very connected to their body because it all starts with their sacral. And so generators, when they were growing up, if they had a really good meal, they'd probably be going, and I still do it. I talk with my sounds. And if somebody asked me a question, that is your body talking.
Did you have, when you're a generator, did you feel more connected than when you were pregnant?
Surprisingly, I lost a lot of my intuition and connection because I wasn't as connected.
But do you think that's because you had a different human design in your body?
Totally. And their design, and I was very disconnected, and I had, and this is another conversation for a whole different podcast, but because I just immigrated, there was a lot of change going on in my life, and because I felt so disconnected from my body, which is your sacral region as a generator, which is your womb space, I had a really challenging first birth. And that was really interesting.
And do you think other designs, this is kind of going off topic a little bit, but other designs, when they are pregnant, does it impact them?
Absolutely.
Or becoming? Okay.
Absolutely.
And when you had your kids, were you like, oh, what time are they born? I'm doing their chart.
Literally, I was pulling charts because Liam, I was in labor with him for 36 hours. And I was pulling charts, and it was so interesting. And this is why I truly believe that you will always choose your chart, because a lot of moms will come to me and be like, I regret choosing to have an elective C-section because a baby then didn't choose their time. A baby will choose how they enter the world, always. And so I was pulling out different charts for Liam to see my work in practice and in motion. And there was a half an hour period in which he was going to be a generator. And he came in that half an hour period. Otherwise, he would have been a completely different type. And this is why I truly believe, and it ended up in an emergency C-section. And that's why I truly believe that you choose your astrology. And so we always talk about like fixed fate versus flexible fate when it comes to manifestation. Your fixed fate are your astrological markers, your human design charts. Your flexible fate is what you choose to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's where manifestation comes into the conversation of you get to co-create whatever it is that you want.
So he's the same as you then?
Yes.
So he's the same as you.
My husband's also a generator. And then my second born is a projector. So completely different. And he actually ended up being a planned section the day before. And again, the way his birth came into being, which was all led by human design. It was the moment that I realized how much human design had impacted my life and the decision that I'd made to have him as a C-section baby. And again, I didn't know what time it was going to happen, pulled the different charts, and he chose a very specific time. He's a very rare type of projector, and I can already see why he chose that. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think as well, when you become a mom, like the point at which I was just like, manifestation, just now I have zero doubts. Like I absolutely know that there is anything is possible when you believe, was when the twins were born on Christmas Eve.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, oh my God, I literally said this. So like for you, it's on the human design side. And for me, it's on the manifestation side, but it could be the human design reflector side, but we're getting to the same place, as in like we're realizing almost through motherhood that like this totally makes sense.
Totally.
Right? It's interesting. Okay, so we've got the manifestor, we've got the generator.
The Mani-Gen is a combination of the manifestor and the generator. So they are lightning fast beings, because now they've got the lightning fastness of the manifestor and they've got the sustained life force energy of the generator. So the Mani-Gens are the multi-passionate, multitasking beings of the world. And if you're a manifesting generator listening to this, I can guarantee you they are not just listening to this podcast. They're also cooking and trying to do something else at the same time. Because they are those people that have to have a finger in every pie. And that is energetically correct for them to do. So they will have grown up being told you just need to focus on one thing. And why are you not doing one thing? And, so that's where their conditioning comes into play, of like what they need to decondition through. And they are energetically designed to be doing many things at once. And that's how they get their energy. And when they're really infatuated with life, they will be the types finding the shortcuts to doing the things that the generators will have this like methodical process for. They'll find the shortcuts. They'll find the better ways of doing it. They'll bring different solutions to the table. So they're very powerful in how they're here to operate.
So it also allows you to understand the way you operate as a person, that you might be a little bit different to other people, because you want to write the book and start the podcast and do your job and go for the runs, and you know what I mean. But like, if you understand your chart, maybe that's what you are designed as a human design to do.
Exactly. It's a science of differentiation. And that's what I love, is that every single human design reading I've done, and I've done close to 300 now paid readings, and I've learned a lot through those paid readings. And every single reading I do, it's never, oh my God, I've learned something new about myself. It's, I've seen myself. I've felt deeply liberated to be who I've always known that I was meant to be, but I was trying so hard to not be that way because I was told whatever in the past.
Makes sense.
And every projector always says to me, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing me. Because we'll actually just move into the projector now, because projectors are fascinating. They have a very delicate balance in their aura and their system. And they are here to deeply see into people. And the Queen, for example, was a projector. And
how do you know that? Were you able to get her? Or is it just known?
It's just a known fact. And Taylor Swift's a projector. And I'm a huge Swiftie. We can talk about Taylor Swift all day long.
So do these celebrities get their human design done, or are people kind of doing them for them?
Kind of doing it for them, and you can go and find all sorts of things on the internet.
You can, for sure. So Taylor Swift it's actually really good to have a celeb idea in your mind when we go through these, because then we're like, oh, she's a projector. So what does projector mean?
Projector is somebody that is here to guide and lead, especially the generators and the manifesting generators. So I know that me in my like height of passion will be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to, and a projector will come in and be like, whoa, if you just did this and then you focused on this, you'd be like able to do this in half the amount of time. I'm like,
oh my God, that sounds like Sarah. What's Sarah?
She's a projector. I was about to say, she's a projector.
Yeah. That our mutual friend, Sarah, I was like, that really sounds like her when she's just like, no. Focus on this one thing, cut everything back. And I was like, oh, that sounds like Sarah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And so projectors, because they have this way of guiding and leading and seeing deeply into others, they're actually not designed to work for more than 4 hours of a day.
Oh, that's really her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that, the work that they do in those 4 hours is so impactful that they then need like the nap or like the day off for the rest of the day, because they're not designed to work on a continuous basis. Now, we understand why there are so many burnt out people in corporates? Because projectors make up about 20% of the population, which is a big number. And I mean, we've got manifesting generators burning out and generators burning out too for different reasons. And human design can show you why you're burning out.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because you might be burning out for different reasons. Yeah. Like one person might be burning out because they're doing too many things at one time and they're trying to do it all, which is the way I kind of felt in the last while. But if you're the one the names have got me, but was it the manifesting generator that does lots of things. Maybe their burnout isn't because they're doing lots of things. Maybe it's because they have nothing to do.
Exactly. They're not doing enough of the things that light them up. So manifesting generators often do burn out because they're not doing enough. And they think they're doing a lot, but they're doing too much of the wrong thing.
Not the things that they love. Okay, so there's projectors. So then that's 4, isn't it? Yeah. And then the 5th one then is reflectors.
So the reflectors are here so every other type is governed by the sun. And so the sun moves through a gate, which is the numbers, every couple of days. Reflectors are governed by the moon. And you probably already know that you have different connections with the moon and feelings around the moon, and can kind of start to map out what we call your infradian cycle, which is, women and men. This is the biggest difference between women and men in terms of how they are wired. A man will go through a cycle in 24 hours. A woman has their cycle over 28 days, linked to the moon. And this is why men appear to have a more consistency about them, whereas women don't. And it's because of that big difference. And so for you, being a reflector, you are governed by the moon. And you are lunar beings. And a reflector is really here to show us the health of the community. And so when world events are happening, and you'll probably be that person that gets really impacted by world events, very impacted, it's because your aura is taking it in and amplifying it, and you're going to either be in flight, fight, or freeze about that, or activated about it. And it's because it takes a lot of toll on you. And then your health. You will very physically have symptoms.
It's so weird that you say that, because I actually get physical pain in my heart. Like actual physical pain when I see other pain in the world. And another thing that I noticed about myself, and this might be because I'm a reflector on the base of the human design chart, is when something is going on in the world, like right now, what's going on, and I start to consume that, I will start to get nightmares, right? Yeah. So it will start to show up. But then sometimes I don't like to share too much because I start to get angry. Yeah. And I don't want to put out anger into the world. And after I had Penelope, I definitely had PTSD after her, because Polly had passed away just before her. Then I had Penelope, and I ended up hemorrhaging, right? And it was all during kind of COVID time. And I remember my husband wasn't allowed in the hospital. Various things happened. But on the flip side, politicians were going in to get their hair cut. And I was starting to get so angry and putting it out there, like, this is not right. Women's health, women. And eventually it got to the stage where I actually took a year off, a detox from social media, because I found
it got too much.
Yeah. And also I feel it so much that I get angry, and I say to myself, all you wanted was this rainbow baby. She's 6 weeks old and you're mad and angry with what's going on. So sometimes people might think about me and what's going on in the world at the moment, like she's a little bit inconsistent, like she might post 1 week a couple of times and then not. But the reason is because I have to protect almost my emotional well-being, because it impacts me.
And your physical well-being.
Yeah.
And your physical well-being, because you feel it so much more than any of the other types. And most people won't understand that.
Yeah. Like I get, like it's an actual physical pain in my heart. And anytime I've been to any readings with other people or Reiki healers, they're like, your heart chakra, you need to watch your heart chakra. It's always the heart chakra, always. But I know that because that's where I feel my pain, So reflectors, that's the most rare, and they're governed by the moon. Interesting.
Yeah. And I also just want to say that, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm a generator and I didn't want to be a generator. I wanted to be one of the rare types, because that was me. That was me. I was like, oh, I'm like the boring type. But this is why I love human design. There are over 3 billion combinations in the system. 3 billion. And when you understand the mechanics of your design, like truly understand them, you're like, oh, I've never seen somebody like me. in this lifetime ever before?
Yeah.
What is the power that I have within me that I get to create? And so if you think that you're not special or unique because I haven't called you a rare type, you really are, because of the other elements in your chart that make you so rare. So don't think that you're not special.
Yeah. Yeah. When you go through the 5, what are the percentages of people? Like, so manifestor is 9.
Is around 9. Generators and manifesting generators collectively make up around 70-ish%.
Okay.
So 70 to 75%.
Yeah.
Projectors 20% and reflectors 1%.
Yeah.
I hope I've done my maths correctly.
Well, roughly.
I
didn't add it up there. Like, I'm absolutely brutal at math my whole life, so who knows? But it sounds about, that sounds right. So we have 9. Then what did you say? 70. So that's 80. Then there's
the reflector and the manifestor. Yeah.
20.
20. Yeah, 20. Yeah, there we go.
Roughly, and then 1%. So roughly around there. Yeah, that's interesting. So that means that the generator and the manifesting generator make up the most of the population.
Correct.
Is it? So they're the ones.
Because it's the workforce. We need the workforce. Not everyone could be having ideas and just be doing ideas without the implementation and the action behind it to get a project across the line.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you look at all of the different human designs, do you think, okay, this human design would do really well with like an angel card readings, and this one would do really well with Reiki, and this one would do really well with sound baths, and this one would do really well with meditation?
Absolutely.
Does it?
Yeah. So I can even go through a basic thing that you can see right now in your chart of how your frequency will be affected in the best way possible. So when I talk about manifestation, I say that you have to be in the predominant frequency of what it is that you're attracting. So you can have a shitty day and feel really sad, but that's a temporary state. Mm-hmm. Is it taking over your whole week, your whole month? Then you're going to move into the predominant frequency. And so when I talk about frequency, I'm talking about that. And the best way to change your frequency is by understanding what we call your profile line. So if you're looking at your charts, which I hope you have in front of you, you're going to see a number. It's either a 1-3, a 2-5, a 3-5, whatever. We're looking at the second number. So you've got the first decimal point, you've got the second. It's the second number. And these lines run from 1 through to 6. So line 1, if you're either be a 5-1 profile or a 4-1 profile, 1 is all about your bones. And it's really interesting because a lot of the time I work with people to heal very physical ailments to help them with manifestation. And at the moment, I'm working with a lot of postpartum mamas who have indicators of rheumatoid arthritis. Mm. And they often have a 5-1 or a 4-1 profile line, and their frequency is held in their bones. And so your 1 line needs to be your bone health. And that can be through movement, but it's also about like doing a little bit more of the kind of structured poses like yin yoga. Great for a 5-1 or 4-1 profile. Great for the bone health, really understanding your bone health. It's the structure, it's the integrity of who you are. That is where your frequency is held. A 2 line is, I'm going to remember it. I will remember it. I know 2 is all about the fluid because that's what comes next in your body. So you've got your bones, it's the structure. 2 is all about the fluid and paying particular attention to your spine. So again, yoga is a great one for 2 lines and making sure your posture.
And that's what you mean by 1 and 2 lines. Like someone will have a 1, a different person will have a 2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So your 2s would be, you'll have a...
But you could be one of the 5, a manifestor, a reflector.
Yes.
And have a 1 or a 2. It just depends.
Exactly. So this is
like
why
not all projectors are a 2 or a 1 or...
No.
Okay.
So this is why the system becomes so nuanced, because you'll have different centers defined, different gates defined, different gates in different planets. And this is why we get 3 billion combinations within the system. So so 2s is all about your spine. How are you sitting, your posture, how are you moving, quite literally moving through life. If you have a 3 as your second line in your profile, it's all about movement. So a lot of people say, and there are a lot of like people with 3s in their profile, but a lot of people will say, oh, I just felt so much better. I can manifest better when I've moved. And so movement is, and getting blood flowing and sweating, that is how you change your frequency. If you have a 4th line, it is all about, I should have written notes, but I'll remember the fourth one.
Yeah.
The fifth one is voice. I know that the fifth one is voice because I'm a fifth line. And so voice is going to change your frequency. I have elevated my frequency so much because I've become a mom. And guess what I do all day? I sing to my kids.
Yeah.
And that's why I know with my business, voice and doing a podcast is where my frequency will be in business. And that's where I know my abundance will come from because it's me sharing my voice.
I'm really interested in seeing what I am because I feel like I'm a 3 and a 5. Like, I think I'm movement for sure. And and even for me, like, my movement has to be fast. It's kind of like my personality. Like, whenever I do an event, it's a move and manifest, right? And it's a fast move dance class, right? It's like it's fast or some sort of something like that. But you won't have yoga in my events. Yeah. Because I'm not calm. Right? And it's kind of the funny because I have Matt Cook coming in September. And I always say myself and Matt are a little bit like yin and yang because I'm like, let's go, people. And he's like, and Yvonne, it's all going to work out for us. And he's real, that's his personality, right? Exactly. And I think you were actually talking about him previously, like, I bet you he's a gate this and this and that. But he did talk about
the gene keys.
Gene keys. So what are gene keys? Are they the gene keys?
So we've got human design, which is more of a masculine system, which is great. I believe that once you have lived in the manifestation realm for a bit, these things are going to find you. So I have no doubt that you're going to go start diving down certain rabbit holes here.
Well, I'm going to read the chart you did for me. That's the first part. Like, I was telling Kylie earlier that, like, I really wanted to learn about human design, and I meant to read my whole document because it's a long enough document, isn't it?
It's like 90
pages. Yeah. And I said, I just didn't get a chance, but I'm almost glad because I don't want to know too much. But now that you're talking about it, I want to go back and see where it actually all makes sense for me. And when you're talking about a reflector, they reflect back. Like, for me, if I'm doing an event and it's my event where people have showed up, the energy that I get from that is huge. And, like, for example, if I have to do a corporate event where people are just there because it's just a different, my mood will be a lot more mellow and flat after it. Yeah. Do you know? Because because they're more
You're
mellow. You're
reflecting back their vibration, their collective vibration.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. So the gene keys.
So we've got human design, which is a masculine kind of system. There's a little bit of structure because it's going to say you're a generator. Your strategy in life is to respond to things, and your authority, which is your decision making. And I do believe that that's such a beautiful thing to talk about as well, because human design will literally show you how you're here to make decisions. And I believe that we make our lives, we co-create our lives from all the decisions that we make on a continuous basis. Yeah. So human design will show you how you are here and designed to make decisions. The gene keys is a feminine system. It's very different. It's here to be received. It's here to be meditated on. It's here to be contemplated. It's not for you to do anything with it. And what's really interesting is that the moment I see people trying to do something with it, they fall into their shadow. So
can I just take a step back because I want to really understand this? Basically, are you saying that human design is like the umbrella? And underneath this umbrella, you've got like which manifestor you are, 1 to 5. You've got your gene keys. You've got your 9 chakras, I think. Was it 9? Is that like human design is the top of the pyramid, and then you've all these little things underneath it? Or like, does gene keys fall into human design is what I'm asking? Or is it a totally
separate topic? But the person, and I get really excited at the fact that he's still alive today. He's still transmuting this. He calls it his living transmission of work, and he's not done with it, which is mind-blowing to me. He did study with the creator of the human design system, Rao Huruhu. And so he studied with him, but he really loved the Chinese I Ching system part of the human design knowledge. And he took that and he's gone and really dove so deep into that.
What's his name?
This is retrograde. Okay. And he's the creator of the gene keys. And so he has really dissected it in such a beautiful way. So the human design will show you like the different elements that make you, give you like practical tools to follow. The gene keys gives you pathways to contemplate, and so if you had your gene keys chart in front of you, it's going to look like a whole lot of different balls, and that's what we call your hologenetic profile. And each ball represents a gate, but it will be linked to human design because your gates aren't going to change because it's your birth data that comes from a neutrino stream, which is the quantum physics side of things, and that's not going to change. So if you've got your sun in gate 37.5, that's going to be reflected on your gene keys too. So it's a separate system, but the data is the same, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then the gene keys takes you through 3 different pathways. The first pathway is you have to find what you're here to do in this life from a purpose point, because when you feel fulfilled, everything else in your life becomes amplified, as we know with manifestation.
Can the gene keys help you find your purpose?
Yes.
Like, I get a lot of people that say to me, I'm just not really sure what I want to do. And I always say to them, from a manifestation perspective, I always say, listen, like, park your manifestation, like, be in the present moment and think about how you want to feel. Like, you want to feel joy, you want to feel valued, intellectually stimulated, financially independent. But like, if you're struggling, like, I just don't know what path I'm supposed to take, would they go for gene keys first or human design? Or
either or.
Okay.
I would say intuitively feel what pulls to you.
Yeah.
Intuitively feel what pulls to you. Gene keys for me, and even human design, when I first came across human design, I was like, nope, way too complicated, closed the book, didn't want to see anything more about it, honestly.
Yeah.
And it kept finding me. And I was like, okay, I need to pay attention because here's the universe going, here's your sign.
Yeah.
And when I'd studied NLP, I'd studied something called metamedicine, and it's how your body holds onto trauma and then creates physical dis-ease and things like that. And once I'd studied human design, I was like, there has to be something that blends us all together. And that's when the gene keys came into my life. And so my journey was human design, then the gene keys. And it makes sense to me why that was for me. But for some people, it might be gene keys and then human design. And neither is right or wrong. It's just your journey. And so, yeah, the gene keys is really interesting because it will help you understand your pathway. It's not going to tell you what your vocation is. It's not going to be like, Yvonne, you should have stayed in law. It's going to say...
I hope it doesn't say that.
It definitely doesn't. But it's going to tell you. So like for me, I know through my gene keys, I'm here to create communities. And I could create a community in corporate. I could create a community in my business. I could create a community in motherhood. There are so many ways to do that. But I know that that's a base of my big work that I'm here to do.
Yeah. And I think that even for me, right, going back to my human design and then doing the gene keys, it would be very interesting to see, because I feel right now, I just feel I'm in the right place. I feel like I am where I belong. So it would be interesting to see, is that reflected in my charts? Do you know what I mean? Like if it says something like create community as well, or speak out, I don't know, teach, educate. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what you need to do. That's the first basis of everything, is to find your fulfillment, what makes you feel fulfilled. And once you feel fulfilled, the second part of the journey is opening up your heart space, because that is where you give and receive from. That is where a big part of manifestation comes in, because you cannot receive your manifestations until you learn how to give and receive. And most of the women that I work with have really big problems with receiving. And this is the deeper work of manifestation. This is where you crack your soul open. You might go through a void because you're healing relationships, but on a deep level. This is where you go through generational stuff. You go through the mother wound. You go through your teenage years. So it shows you your patterns of teenage years.
But how do you go through this? Like what do you...
You'll follow... You quite literally follow the pathway that your gene keys lays out for you. So you start off with understanding your purpose from a relationships perspective. You then go into your attraction sphere, which tells you how you chemically and magnetically pull people into your life. So a lot of the time, if a person's really struggling to manifest a partner, I'll show them where their shadow is. And their shadow is a repressed part of them that they don't want to admit that they have within them. So we've got our subconscious, which we know is your limiting beliefs and everything that we're rewiring with manifestation, right? Then we've got our shadow.
I'm really interested, by the way, we've only got a few minutes left, which is a bitch, right? Because I really want to know what this shadow work is because it's coming up all the time. I'm hearing people talk about it. I'm like, okay, so what exactly? And have I done shadow work? Maybe I have, and you don't actually
You
realize
probably
it.
have done.
But so what is your shadow and what does it mean to do shadow work?
Your shadow lives on the layer below the subconscious.
Okay.
It's the layer you don't know you have within you. And it's the layer that will have the most drastic changes in your life. If you want to manifest things beyond your wildest dreams, dive into your shadow. It is not comfortable. It is not sexy work. It is not the work that you go and feel high vibe about.
Shit.
But it's also deeply transformative. It's my favorite work to do, and I do it on a daily basis.
And do you do it with your clients?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Kylie, let's hook up and do some shadow work.
Yeah, like I'll just throw out like a casual question for whatever day it is today, a casual Friday morning. One of the questions I've deeply been contemplating over the last week is, why do you feel so validated by trying hard?
Oh, that's a huge one for me. But that's one I've been working on for a while because
it's questions like that cut straight to the chase.
It's just that worthiness piece comes up for me all the time. It's like, I'll give you a small example. And I feel like I know I'm working through it because I told my community every Monday night for the summer series, I am going to have an Insta Live on Monday night. And I said I'm going to do it. So I am going to do it, right? But we're going away for a week. And I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be in Cary on Monday. And my family already think I'm the selfish one because I do whatever the hell I want. And I was like, you know what, Yvonne, you're not doing the Insta Live. You don't have to do everything. Now, I do think it's important to state your commitments, but you have to ask yourself why.
It's discernment.
Why you need to prove that you're going to do 8 weeks of Insta Lives for your community. You know, like I really want to do it, but I have to. Sometimes I actually have to pull myself back and be there for my family. Yeah. It's weird. It's like I put other things first, which is...
It's your value system that you have that's linked in your subconscious mind.
Yeah, which I think comes down from family as well, and the way I was raised.
Absolutely.
So the shadow work, I think we'll have to do a 2.0, like Kylie, because that's really interesting.
And so I have a chart that I've studied for a very long time now where I believe you have 4 levels of where you are in manifestation. In terms of like when things are flying to you, you know, a lot of people will make manifestation sound like, oh, I'm at the spa and I magically attracted this $100,000 day. You can get to that level, but there are other levels that people aren't actually talking about first. And one of them, the first one, is to take radical responsibility for your life. And that's where the shadow lives.
Yeah.
So that is, So the Gene Keys will take you on this journey of doing the shadows, of discovering yourself on a very deep level. And once you've got your heart cracked open and you know how to genuinely receive and give, that's when you step into a life of prosperity and have all your abundance needs met. And I know that a lot of listeners will be going, I want to know how to manifest more money and I want to know how to manifest abundance. What if I told you this piece of information that might change the entire perspective of how you manifest abundance? Money is obviously a resource that we require. I love the topic of manifesting more money. But money is an amplification energy. And so money is only going to come in and amplify every area of your life. The relationship that you think that money is going to fix, it's actually going to make worse if you're not in a happy relationship. The self-worth that you think it's going to fix, it's actually going to amplify all of the cracks you have with the self-worth. Money amplifies everything. And this is why I love the Gene Keys, because the Gene Keys is going, let's amplify every area of your life so that when the money does come in, and the money will come in, it amplifies everything so that you're feeling deeply fulfilled. You have these amazing relationships. You know how to work in the world with love in your heart, with everything that you do. And now the money comes in and it amplifies all of that. And that's why we need more people in the world that do Gene Keys and human design and shadow work.
And you guys, if you're looking at this on video, my mouth is just like my jaws dropped open because it's so interesting because so many people, this is our last point, want to manifest more money. So where can we find you, Kylie? I'm like, I need to do you do any like courses on human design, Gene Key, shadow work?
So I have kind of just come back into my business, having recently just had like 2 under 2 and gone
Yeah.
through the hardest year of my life. So I'm rebuilding everything. I have a membership at the moment where I talk about human design every single day, and it's $22 a month. So it's a super affordable investment point. And in there, I'm helping people actively live in their human design. So it's not just about learning about human design, it's what are we doing with the information? Because otherwise self-help just becomes shelf-help, and I'm not about shelf-help.
Yeah, I really like that. Okay, so your Kylie's Instagram handle as well is that manifestation mama. Yeah, which is great.
And I do YouTube readings for people that can't necessarily afford a big human design reading. And there's loads of things on my website, so go and have fun exploring.
Yeah, and is the website that manifestationmama.com? Yeah, okay. We'll put it all in the show notes for Kylie. Super, super interesting. I have to read my reading now. I'm going to go home and get that printed off and just start going through it and being like, oh.
And if you are feeling super overwhelmed by it, just take it as it comes. You don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
I've also got a discount code for your community if they want to download.
Oh, yes. We are abundant. We love discount codes.
Yeah.
What's our discount code?
Bestie.
Bestie. Oh, B-E-S-T-I-E.
Yeah.
B-E-S-T-I-E. Okay, so this will probably come out in a few weeks. So can you have it there for a little while?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We got a code. We love this. Whoop, whoop. We are abundant. We love codes. We love codes. We love discounts here at the Manifesty Besties. So thank you, Kylie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was such an honor.